Hey guys, welcome to the Matrix, Kevy style. Blue pill, reality. Red pill, the Matrix. Stay in make-believe world, okay? Now, we're going to discuss Macintosh computers, iOS devices like phones and iPads too, about values, about what you should stay away from, or if you're going to do it for nostalgic purchases, at least pay as little as possible because the stuff ain't worth nothing. And in about 2 years from now, all Intel-based Macintosh computers are going to all be cut off. Now, your iOS devices that are able to still currently run current operating systems will be fine. Don't worry about those. We're in no danger from Apple cutting off, OS support for our more current iOS devices. Although older iOS devices are already extinct anyways, so you better be off the internet on those or you have no security and you're risking your identity, your credit cards, banking info, and everything else you do on there on the internet. So, with the Macintosh computers, you got to be very careful when buying a used Mac. Very expensive prices, $500, $400. I mean, these are ludicrous prices for 6, 7, 8-year-old computers that can't even support the most current operating system. Now, there are a few of them that are 6 years old that can still actually support a current OS, but we need to find this out, and that's a big thing. So when you're looking on Marketplace or eBay, you're looking at a Mac computer, you don't want to spend a ton of money because you don't have thousands of dollars for the good stuff. You just want to buy something that's going to do you, maybe even for a couple of years. You got to know what you're looking at, right? So you have to understand how this stuff works. So I'm going to give you some little clue-ins here of stuff. Now, like I said, in 2 years' time, Apple has already said all Intel-based Macs, regardless how new they are, 2020, 2021 iMac, or Mac Pros, whatever, if it's got an Intel chip in it, it's gone. It's no more support for OS security, nada, okay? It's M1 chips and up, okay? So, there you go. Now, there are a lot of computers currently on Marketplace, for example, that are still good, viable purchases that will last you that 2-year time period that will currently run a legit Big Sur. But you're going to need something that's at least a 2015 and newer to be totally 100% safe for the next 2 years. Okay? Possible safety, 2014 and above. Okay? Whether it's an iMac or a MacBook. But you also got to be concerned about some other things, especially in the laptop area, is that a majority of your newish and newer and new MacBooks, okay, that are still Intel-based chips. Like, you can still get a MacBook Air that's, you can still get the MacBook Air 2020 with an Intel chip. It only has 8 gigs of RAM and a 256 gig SSD in it, which is fine. It barely just runs Big Sur. Okay, Big Sur is a real hog for processing power. It really makes the computer work, and it's definitely a RAM hog. Actually, Big Sur shouldn't be on anything less than 16 gigs of RAM on an Intel processor, okay? On an M1, seems to be fine. I played around with a brand new M1 iMac at Best Buy, 8256 configuration, and the MacBook Air that's also an M1 8256, and they're just fine. They're such a fast machine that 8 gigs is okay. But generally, I mean, we're talking Intel chips right now, Intel chip machines, 16 gigs or more. I didn't get any life out of my late 2015 iMac 27-inch 5K until I actually got her up to about 24 gigs of RAM and an SSD, and then it flies really nice with Big Sur. And of course, it also is, the other thing is the qualifying OS. The next OS will be qualified for the 2015 Mac computers, okay? So you will be able to run the new OS. But you're going to probably have a dicey time with 2014s, maybe. I don't know for sure. Apple does have a list out, by the way, if you go to their website, of the compatible Mac computers of all versions that are going to be capable of running the newest OS that's coming out. They also have a compatibility list of all the current Mac computers by model year and type that can run Big Sur natively. Anything that is not on that list cannot run Big Sur, okay, natively. Now, there are a number of different Mac computers, including the late 2013 iMac. You can actually, what I like to call, hack in Big Sur. However, you have no security and no support from Apple, and should your identity be compromised, or passwords, or bank accounts, and blah, 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 because you're using this thing on the internet, you're on your own, because even the banks aren't going to come good for you, or your credit card companies, because it is your responsibility as a computer owner to keep your operating systems on your devices, being computers, phones, tablets, iPads, etc., up to date at all times to stay current with the most tightest security measures of all sides. Okay, they're also responsibility for their stuff. Okay, so you need to make sure. So how you do this, if you're looking at a Macintosh computer, for example, okay, let's say MacBook Air 2015. We want to type in the Google search MacBook Air 2015 specs. Okay, then we're going to click on the everymac.com link, not the Apple link, because everymac.com link has more specs in detail than what Apple actually gives us, okay, which is pretty sad, but it is true. We also get current estimated US retail value from the lowest point to the maximum highest point. Now this, of course, is based on configuration and condition based upon their spec sheets, okay, but condition is definitely everything. All right. Now, I'm going to give you an example of some rip-off deals, too. All right. There is currently, in my area, a MacBook. Where did it go? There it is. MacBook Pro 2013. 15-inch. Okay. Now, I'm going to say, let's go. MacBook Pro. And it is a 2013, and we want the specs. Okay, and we're going to go to everymac.com, and we're going to go look at the highest supported operating system. It came with either 4 or 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, so we're not sure which one it has. Where are we? Actually, no, we don't know. They're not telling us those specs. We'll have to ask. But it came with either 4 or 8, and it came with either 128 or 256. Likely, though, because the majority of Mac computers being sold out of stores like Best Buy and so on, all came with base level, which is 4 by 128. Okay, but you could go custom order 8 by 256. Okay, and that's kind of like the norm. Things did eventually go 8 to 256 as a preset, but in this case probably was the 4 by 128, which, by the way, 128 gig hard drive and 4 gigs of RAM is definitely way not enough for Big Sur. However, let's see if it can run it. So we want to know the OS specs. So operating system, battery type, it can currently run Big Sur, which is funny because the late 2013 iMac cannot run Big Sur, and I had one, and I barked at Apple about this severely, okay, and they're like, well, don't know what to tell you. I says, yeah, but all an iMac is, honestly, guys, is a flippin' MacBook with a big screen, okay? I mean, that's really all these things are, except a little more powerful in most cases, you know, so they know, right? But it'll run Big Sur, so okay, we got something good. It'll run current OS's maximum is Big Sur, so it probably won't run the newest one. You're probably going to need at least a 2014 to run the newest, because it's not even saying anything about the newest one as of yet. But the current estimated value is $450 to $600 US. Well, if it was an 8 by 256, probably on the $600 mark US. But you know what? That's really expensive and really ludicrous pricing. Now keep in mind, they don't update the website all that often. Usually it's twice a year, and obviously they haven't hit the last update, which should bottom those prices out pretty good. However, this person on Marketplace wants $500, and it has missing keycaps on the F keys, which they say missing a few unimportant keys. Really? They're important. They're F keys. They're needed. Hello? Okay, and it's got a busted trackpad, and they want $500? I think not. I think current condition dictates $100 tops, and that's only if the battery still has good life in it. Okay, because now I'm going to have to buy a mouse pad for it, or a trackpad for it, which is going to cost me some money, and I got to install it, and I'm going to have to hope that I can find some keycaps somewhere. If not, I'll have to buy a whole brand new keyboard and put that in. There's some more big money. Okay. Oh, does Apple still have parts for this thing? Probably not because of its age. Okay, so I'm going to have to go eBay and look for used parts. Okay, and hope that what I buy works. Okay, that's the other issue you get, right? But you know, some sucker might pay $500 and they're a sucker. Okay, there's a 2011 one. Now, a 2011, I can tell you right now, only goes to High Sierra, and they want $500 with a really badly broken trackpad on it, a bunch of stickers all over the stupid thing. At least the keyboard's intact. And it looks like there's some other crack on the casing here. And it's like, and they admit, at least they bought it used 3 years ago. Probably for $500 in perfect condition. They're trying to get $500 in busted condition. Okay. 4 gigs of RAM in it, though. You know, that's useless. And it's running High Sierra, which is the max. And probably has a pretty small hard drive. It only has 384 megabytes of video. I mean, come on. You really can't do a lot with that. Okay? And yet, this particular year of MacBook Pro is actually been said to be upwards to about, what is it? Actually, MacBook Pro 2011. Let's find out what it's worth. 2011 MacBook Pro specs. Current value, according to every Mac, is $300 to $450 US. Ludicrous! It only sold for $11.99 brand new, like years ago. Okay, we're talking 10-year-old machine. It's extinct. It can't run a current secure operating system. Hello, kids. People ask ludicrous prices for their used computers, and busted up at that. I've seen Mac computers on here with busted screens for $400. Like, seriously? The screen costs almost that. Okay, I mean, this is just stupidity at its best. A couple of 2019 iMacs, 27-inch, 5K. You can upgrade the RAM, which is fine, but you can't upgrade the hard drives in the 2019s and 2020s. All has to be done by Apple at time of purchase. Nice systems, though. 6-core processor, 8 Gen i5s. But you know what? They paid $25.99 new. Okay, and their last price was $2,200. Now they're down to $19.99. And they're throwing in a keyboard and mouse. Excuse me, they come with keyboards and mice already. Okay, they may not come with an extended keyboard and mouse that they're supplying, but the mouse is still the same original factory mouse with it. They're just throwing in a keyboard that's extended instead of the normal sized one. Where's the normal sized one? But it's called office closing. They bought these things apparently used only for a few months in an office setting before COVID shut them down. Okay, so hey, not our problem that you bought stuff that A, little on the pricey side, B, you want way too much money, considering you can right now, people, buy a 24-inch iMac M1 with 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig hard drive for $15.99 Canadian. Okay, this guy wants $2,000 Canadian for an Intel machine that is like way dog slower compared to the new iMac M1. I'm okay with losing 3 inches of screen to get a brand new up-to-date machine that's going to be good for another 6 years than something that's going to be completely cut off in 2 years. So that $2,000 iMac in Canada here is now worth about $400 at the best price, which means everything else below it is going to be worth even less and less and less and less. But people will still try and get big money because they know that there's a lot of suckers out there. If you want to be a sucker, kids, go ahead. If you want to believe what they're going to tell you, go ahead. Or you can take my word for it. Now, I've been an Apple certified tech since 1990. I've been involved with Apple computers since 1981. Okay, so I've been through all the Apple II computers, owned them all. I've also owned a large variety of Macintosh computers in many different modes and styles and laptops and so on over the years too. And I gotta tell you, I mean, resale value is not what you think it is. Okay, you're not gonna get big money, and if you do, it's from a sucker. And I think that's really unfair. I went to the Hawk Shop today, and they have this same exact 2007 iMac that I have, that I paid $20 for. And I says, you know, I got the same iMac you guys have, except my CD-ROM was toast when I got it. I says, but I offered the person $50 because they said everything works perfect. I get there, the thing didn't even boot to the OS. So I said, I'll give you $20 because I don't know what's wrong with it. They said, $20? I said, well, it was only worth that anyways, really, but I was trying to be nice at $50 if everything worked, you know. And it didn't even come with a keyboard and mouse, but I didn't care. I had all that here. And I did find out when I got home, yep, sure enough, I had to rip it apart. And in the end result, the CD-ROM had to be taken out because, yep, it was toast. And it was causing a major part of that booting problem. And then, of course, I had to take the hard drive out, reformat it, and then I had to get an operating system back on it. And I couldn't do that until I disconnected the CD-ROM and put everything back together. So there you go. You know, $20. I says, your computer, I mean, you're asking $180? You're mental. I'm sorry. You can't even go on the internet with it. You can't even hack in an OS on that sucker that would even be... Well, you'd still have no security even if you could get Catalina, but you can't even get Catalina on a 2007 computer. It's not going to happen, okay? You're not going to get Sierra. The most you're going to get is Yosemite. Yosemite was the final OS, okay? So the next OS above Yosemite, you could hack in, but you're still not even near Catalina yet. So, yeah, this thing is a useless paperweight, except to somebody who already has software at home and definitely knows that they won't be putting this on the internet because, yeah, absolutely not going to happen, okay? So, not safe. And they, of course, have a couple of MacBooks there that are older that are also not even supported by Big Sur, okay? And likely not even Catalina. I know for sure the one can't even legitimately run Catalina. They want $250 for this laptop, and it's like, forget it. It's not going to happen. The other one, they want like $400, I think, for it or something. Again, the thing can't even run Catalina. I'm willing to bet legit. I didn't really look at the specs on it, but just in looking at it and comparing to the other one age-wise, they're about similar. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, definitely. And guaranteed no Big Sur. So, you know what I mean? And hacking in an operating system to a more current one that you can go to, you still have no security, guys. So, you know, and I ran into the other problem too. We have a person that's looking for somebody that has a USB stick of Catalina so they can reformat their drive and reinstall Catalina so they can sell their computer. They bought it about a year ago, was the story I got. And now they're, of course, they're wanting to sell it, which I didn't originally read that part in the ad. I just saw USB stick, Catalina. Thought I'd talk to the person. Well, anyways, it doesn't say in their ad what year the computer is. So I walk them through all the steps, and you know, you can do an internet reinstall. I mean, I do it all the time, you know, and this is how you do it, blah, blah. Well, none of that, of course, works. Well, I said, okay, what year is your MacBook? And they told me, so I searched it out, okay? And turns out it's only good to High Sierra. I says, you have a hacked OS in there. That's why you can't do anything, okay? And the likelihood of Apple still having High Sierra on the server, probably slim to none. But first, we got to get Catalina out of there. And the only way that's realistically going to happen now is the hard drive has to come out, okay? So I said, I would have to remove, or you would have to get somebody anyways. I mean, I'll do it, but it's going to be, you're going to get a bill for it, okay? But I said, I can haul the hard drive out for you. I can format it on another computer, wipe it naked, zap the PRAM, get rid of any other PRAM'd credentials from the person that hacked in that OS to begin with, and they're goodbye-byes. And then I said, I can easily put back in El Capitan, okay? And that's not a problem. I can do that, right? But you're still not going back on the internet, okay? Catalina, yes, guys, it still does have some security updates, but only if you're running a legit Catalina. If you're running a hacked-in one, because somebody hacked it in as an unsupported OS, you have no security right from the get-go. So already, you've done something kind of not so smart, okay? So this is things you got to watch for when you see people even producing a computer that has Catalina on it, or even having Big Sur on it for that matter. My late 2013, I could have hacked in Big Sur, you know, and I've seen people try to sell 2013 iMacs for $1,000 with Big Sur. Well, it's been hacked in. There's no security there. Catalina, at least you're so good for maybe a couple of more months, and then it's cut. You know, Big Sur, of course, it hasn't been out that long. Already we're coming across to this fall a whole new operating system once again, which at least my current late 2015 iMacs qualify for. So we're good there. But in 2 years' time, all Intel machines are cut off from Apple for all support for OS, security, and everything. Just complete shutdown. They're not going to be helping anybody anymore. It's going to be M1 World or above, and that's the way it goes, okay? With your iOS devices, you have to make sure that if you're buying a used iOS device, that you can update it to the most current. If it can't go to 14.71 or 15, then don't buy it, because it's not going to be good for you. Now 15's not out yet, so you can't even bother to search for 15 yet. But 14.71 is out. And if you can get the person to let you check the software update on the phone or the iPad to see if it can do 14.71, then I'd say, okay, if they give you a hard time for it, walk. Run, in fact, because this is a bad news. Okay, even if you're really not going to go on the internet very much, you still have to have an operating system secure enough. Okay, to go up to the Apple store, you should still have security on your Apple ID. Otherwise, you have all kinds of holes in the operating system now. Hackers love people that run unsecure operating systems because it's so easy to hack into them. Okay, so you know, this is why security is such a big thing, where Apple wants people to make sure they keep their stuff up to date. This is why Microsoft keeps updating their OS, hoping that you'll keep it up to date, because this gives you the best security. You know, because if you're not secure, your credit card companies and banks don't have to come good if something happens to your ID, your cards, your passwords, all that. They don't have to come good. Nobody does, because it's your responsibility to make sure you're current and up to date at all times with your stuff. Okay? Anyways, I'm sure I didn't cover everything, because I really can't unless we do this for a few hours. But if you have questions, feel free to ask them, and of course I'll do the very best I can to answer them. But like I said, that's how you search out Mac computers. To find out, you know, current stuff. Type in the OS number, you know, blah, 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 what is OS, blah, 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 and it'll come up and tell you if it's Catalina, High Sierra, Yosemite, whatever, okay, for that computer, what it can run as a maximum OS, and so on and so on. Away you go. But don't get rooked into these deals, guys. Don't be paying big money because it says it's Apple. I'm probably the biggest Apple freak you'll ever come across in your life. And even I know well enough that these values are always overpriced, ludicrous values. They are not worth what people are asking for their phones, for their tablets, for their computers. It's just ludicrous. I mean, the more current it is, and the more newer it is worth more money. But when it starts, you know, getting up there in age, I mean, come on, seriously, this stuff ain't worth that. And vintage be darned, unless it's museum quality pieces they're selling, it ain't worth even half of what they're selling, even if it is museum quality. Okay, it just doesn't have that value. People rely on suckers and people who are real addicts to the Mac world, the Apple world. That'll pay the money because they're looking for a specific piece. I'm looking for a couple specific Macs right now. I'll tell you right now. I know I can get them for 50 bucks. I know I can get them for 20 bucks in perfect working order. I just got to find the person that's going to sell it to me at that price, because right now most of them want 80 to 100 bucks. I'm not willing to pay that kind of money, you know, because they're not worth that kind of money. They're worth 20, 30, 40 bucks. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the videos. Do stay tuned for more. And again, if you have questions, down below in the comments, leave your questions, and I'll do what I can to answer them for you and help you out in any way I can. Thanks, and see ya!